Max Mara Spring 2026 Butter Yellow and Sand Effortless Italian Chic. Introduction. Welcome to Alara Fashion Style, where I love exploring the collections that redefine elegance in subtle yet powerful ways. Today, I'm taking a closer look at Max Mara Spring 2026, a collection that embraces butter yellow and sand tones with remarkable confidence. What immediately sparked my curiosity is how these soft colors manage to feel both fresh and timeless at the same moment. I think this season offers an inspiring lesson about the enduring appeal of effortless Italian chic. A soft color story. As I studied the collection, I found myself captivated by the harmony between butter yellow and sand. In my experience, these shades create a sense of warmth that feels welcoming rather than overwhelming. What I find interesting is that neither color is particularly bold, yet together they command attention in a sophisticated way. I think this proves that visual impact does not always require dramatic contrast. The essence of Italian chic. Max Mara has long been associated with understated elegance, and Spring 2026 reinforces that reputation beautifully. I think Italian chic is often misunderstood as simply looking polished, but it goes much deeper than appearance. What I find interesting is how the collection captures a relaxed confidence that feels completely natural. In my experience, true style becomes most powerful when it appears effortless. Why butter yellow feels different. Butter yellow has emerged as one of the most intriguing colors of the season. I think its appeal comes from its ability to brighten a wardrobe without becoming overly energetic. What I find interesting is that it delivers optimism while maintaining sophistication, a balance that many trend colors fail to achieve. In my experience, shades that combine emotion and versatility tend to have lasting influence. The quiet strength of sand. While butter yellow brings softness, sand provides stability throughout the collection. I think sand works because it acts as a grounding force, allowing lighter tones to shine without feeling disconnected. What I find interesting is how this neutral creates depth despite its simplicity. In my experience, the most effective supporting colors are often the ones people notice the least. A masterclass in balance. One aspect that impressed me most was the balance between structure and ease. Many collections lean heavily toward one direction, but Max Mara seems to understand the value of moderation. What I find interesting is how tailored pieces still feel relaxed and approachable. I think that balance reflects the realities of modern dressing, better than extreme fashion statement. The luxury of restraint. I often believe that restraint is one of the most overlooked elements of luxury design. This collection avoids unnecessary embellishment and instead focuses on precision and quality. What I find interesting is that simplicity can often appear more expensive than complexity. In my experience, garments that rely on craftsmanship rather than decoration tend to age more gracefully. Relaxed silhouettes with purpose. The silhouettes throughout spring 2026 feel fluid, comfortable, and intentional. I think relaxed shapes work best when they maintain a sense of structure, and Max Mara achieves that balance exceptionally well. What I find interesting is that comfort no longer feels separate from elegance. In my experience, the most successful modern fashion combines both qualities seamlessly. The emotional impact of color. Color influences mood more than many people realize. As I viewed the collection, I sensed a feeling of calm optimism that remained consistent throughout. What I find interesting is how butter yellow and sand create an atmosphere of quiet positivity without appearing overly cheerful. I think that emotional subtlety is one of the collection's greatest strengths. Timelessness over trends. Unlike most people who chase every emerging trend, I often look for pieces that remain relevant year after year. This collection feels rooted in longevity rather than temporary excitement. What I find interesting is that timeless fashion frequently appears more modern than trend-driven clothing. In my experience, enduring style comes from thoughtful design rather than novelty alone. The importance of fabric choice. The fabrics used throughout the collection play a significant role in its success. I think soft colors require exceptional materials because imperfections become more visible when designs are restrained. What I find interesting is how texture adds richness without disrupting the overall simplicity. In my experience, fabric quality often determines whether a minimalist look succeeds or fails. A surprising fashion insight. One counterintuitive lesson from this collection is that subtle colors can often make a stronger statement than vibrant ones. Many people assume bold shades automatically create impact, yet I see evidence to the contrary here. What I find interesting is how confidence grows when clothing does not compete for attention. I think understated elegance often leaves the most memorable impression. Dressing for real life. As much as I appreciate artistic runway concepts, I always value practicality. This collection feels designed for real wardrobes and real lifestyles. What I find interesting is how luxury and functionality coexist without compromise. In my experience, fashion becomes more meaningful when it supports everyday living. The modern Max Mara woman. The woman represented in this collection appears confident, thoughtful, and self-assured. I think the clothing reflects someone who values quality over excess and substance over spectacle. What I find interesting is that the designs communicate strength without relying on aggressive styling. In my experience, the most compelling fashion narratives are built around authenticity. The art of layering. Layering plays an important role throughout spring 2026. I think layering works particularly well with neutral palettes because it introduces visual complexity without overwhelming the eye. What I find interesting is how each piece contributes to the overall look while maintaining its individuality. In my experience, successful layering requires careful attention to proportion and texture. Confidence without excess. One of the collection's strongest messages is that confidence does not require extravagance. I think many consumers are increasingly drawn to quieter forms of luxury. What I find interesting is that understated clothing often demands greater self-assurance than highly decorative fashion. In my experience, true confidence comes from comfort with oneself, rather than a desire to impress others. A dialogue between past and present. Max Mara has a rich heritage, yet this collection feels remarkably contemporary. I think the brand succeeds because it respects tradition while embracing modern lifestyles. What I find interesting is how historical influences can feel fresh when interpreted thoughtfully. In my experience, the strongest collections build bridges between the past and the future. What makes this collection memorable? As I reflect on the season, I keep returning to its consistency of vision. Every look seems connected by a clear understanding of elegance and ease. What I find interesting is that memorable collections often rely on coherence rather than surprise. Do you prefer fashion that makes a dramatic statement? Or do you appreciate a more refined approach like this one? The lasting appeal of soft luxury. The more I analyze Spring 2026, the more I appreciate its commitment to soft luxury. I think butter yellow and sand represent a sophisticated alternative to louder fashion trends. What I find interesting is how these colors feel relevant today, while remaining timeless enough for years to come. In my experience, that balance is incredibly difficult to achieve successfully. Conclusion. Looking back at Max Mara Spring 2026, I see a collection that celebrates elegance through simplicity, confidence through restraint, and beauty through thoughtful design. I think its greatest achievement is proving that soft colors and relaxed silhouettes can be every bit as powerful as bold statements. What are your thoughts on butter yellow and sand as the defining shades of effortless Italian chic? If you enjoyed this fashion deep dive, be sure to subscribe to Alara Fashion Style for more runway reviews, style inspiration, and timeless fashion insight.